Many Indian films have done business worth millions of dollars in China, but now the Chinese state-run media is explaining why and how Chinese audiences make fun of Indian movies.
According to the Global Times, Chinese netizens have ridiculed the exaggerated plots of war movies made in India. It adds that Chinese audience mocked when in the movie Subedar Joginder Singh, not a single bullet from the Chinese army can hit a brave Indian soldier. According to the Chinese media outlet, Indian movies are also mocked in China because the actions that take place in Indian films cannot be backed by science and history. Well, that's an interesting observation, but the Chinese newspaper didn't specify whether the Chinese actually understand that such movies are mostly about entertainment and their content is not always supposed to be verified by scientists and historians. And anyway, as far as science is concerned, in many Chinese films, Chinese actors have also demonstrated their superpowers which appear fictitious or exaggerated. Why forget that? The newspaper also complains about Indian films for not telling the truth about the 1962 war. Again, that sounds like a fair point, but in that case, would the Chinese newspaper and movie lovers appreciate it if a historically accurate film is made on the Nathula and Chola clashes, which are said to have resulted in Indian victory? Would they also appreciate it if a historically accurate film is made on the Tibet issue or on how the Chinese were defeated in the First Sino-Japanese War? We want to know. And yes, this also brings us the question: what is the real frustration that China has in relation to the Indian film industry? To understand this better, I recommend viewers watch the remaining episode very carefully. We know that in recent times, some Bollywood films have done well in the Chinese market and have earned a lot of money. It is very important to highlight that even the same Chinese newspaper also admits that Bollywood stars like Aamir Khan, Salman Khan and Shah Rukh Khan are well received and welcomed in China. A while back, the same Chinese newspaper also reported that Aamir Khan film Dangal actually earned more in China than in its home country. This means that the market in China is gradually becoming more and more important and lucrative for some Indian filmmakers. Seems like a win-win situation, right? But maybe that's a terrible mistake. Let me tell you why. A while ago, perhaps that is exactly how Hollywood used to think too. Some Hollywood filmmakers were also making a lot of money in China. Initially, it also seemed to be a win-win situation for both the parties involved. But now in America, the situation has reached a point that experts say that China is turning America's own Hollywood movies into Chinese propaganda. Yes, according to industry watchers, gradually the financial prospects in the Chinese market became so lucrative for American filmmakers that America's own soft power, Hollywood, ended up becoming a tool to spread the Chinese Communist Party's narrative. Yes, it may sound unbelievable, but it is happening. According to James Tager of PAN America, the Chinese Communist Party is increasingly shaping what global audiences see. The PAN America report, made in Hollywood, censored by Beijing, reveals many chilling details regarding China's control and influence in Hollywood films that a regular movie watcher would not be able to guess. So if China can influence the giant industry of Hollywood for its money and market and can even hurt their free expression, then what it can potentially do to India and Bollywood can be very unsettling. Already we are seeing how some filmmakers and actors of Bollywood are looking at the market in China with a lot of hope and interest. For example, even the Chinese state-affiliated media outlet Global Times highlighted Bollywood's Aamir Khan for his willingness to take on thorny social issues, something that people in China appreciate and welcome. But if that is actually true, does it mean that the Chinese newspaper and Chinese audience will also appreciate if India's Aamir Khan produces a film on China's repression of Uyghurs in Xinjiang? And also, will India's famous film star Aamir Khan be ready to make a film on the condition of Muslims in Xinjiang and bring their painful stories to the global limelight? Since Chinese people love him and even the Chinese newspaper highlights him for his work on social issues, it should be another blockbuster in China, right? And yes, the film can be made on true history, facts and the actual experiences of Muslims in Xinjiang. It is strange how, on the one hand, the Global Times claims that the ruling party in China does not allow TV dramas which are anti-Japanese, but on the other hand, reports emerge that China even wants to control and censor films of a foreign film industry in America. That is the reason why the global community often finds it difficult to trust China and their media. Truth should be told whether it is convenient or inconvenient, but to some it may appear that China wants the truth to be told only when it is convenient to its ruling party. As far as speaking the inconvenient truth is concerned, the Pan America report also tells something that many always felt. The report says, Hollywood exercises outsized influence over global society and culture through the power of its creations. Stories shape the way people think, and the stories told by Hollywood reach billions. It adds, it is worth acknowledging that the United States government has benefited from, encouraged, and at times even directed Hollywood filmmaking as an exercise in soft power. Yes, who knows it better than India, because on multiple occasions, America's film industry has also stereotyped India to an extent that it has caused discomfort among many Indians. On the other hand, what China is doing to Hollywood may be causing discomfort to many, but we shouldn't forget that our democratic systems also do not run perfectly. In fact, China is only using the same corrupt system of Hollywood that is otherwise exploited by the local American political groups or others with vested interests to push their agenda or ideology. Yes, politically motivated films are produced in America and even in India. Yes, in democratic countries, multiple groups with their own ideologies and beliefs may influence the narrative in selected films and may have their influence on selected media outlets too. Yes, this makes us concerned, and quite often this does raise the question of whether news outlets in our democratic system are truly independent and whether our filmmakers are truly unbiased. But at least in democratic systems, there is a space for whistleblowers, independent thinkers, and at least there are multiple voices emerging from multiple groups representing multiple political ideologies and viewpoints. But on the other hand, it seems that in China, it is just one voice that matters. There is only one political view. There is hardly any space for whistleblowers. The Pan America report mentions that China's ruling Chinese Communist Party has long imposed a censorship system over all forms of media and entertainment, including books, television, film, radio, news media, and social media. Beijing operates the world's largest, most comprehensive, and most sophisticated system of state censorship, which is designed to benefit the interests of the party and the country's political leadership. Anyway, films can be a great way to spread harmony and love between people, communities, and countries. But after seeing what is happening to Hollywood, can we say that these kind of articles that the Chinese state-affiliated newspaper publish do not reflect China's love or interest for truth, science, or history? It appears to be more about ensuring that no one, anywhere in the world, dares speak or does anything that is against CCP's interest, ideology, or its worldview. So, will China be able to control India's Bollywood eventually? And since it hasn't been able to do that yet, is that the reason the Chinese are frustrated? And as far as India is concerned, is the world's largest democracy even discussing properly what China has done to Hollywood and what it can also do to Bollywood or to other film industries in India? See you again.